Hey guys, this is Carrie from Baking with the Braziers, and I'm going to start right in with my husband Tim and tell you what's going on in this video. We're making cinnamon rolls, my mother's cinnamon rolls. In the glass measuring cup, I've got yeast and 3 cups of warm water, and I added a little bit of sugar to the yeast to give the yeast something to eat. And in the mixing bowl, I added all the other ingredients except for the flour. There were 4 eggs, a half a cup of sugar, a half a cup of non-fat dry milk powder. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cups of our 10 cups total flour just to give it something to start with, right? I don't really know why we do it that way, but my mom does it that way, and I figure if it works for her. So I kind of get it going while my yeast is sitting in my measuring cup. And now I'm pouring it in because I know that the yeast is activated. It's been about 10 minutes probably. I sped everything up. Scraping out all that good yeast. There's 2.5 tablespoons of yeast in this recipe.
Whoa.
3 cups of warm water. And like I say, I sprinkled a little bit of that half cup of sugar in there to begin with, to help get that yeast going, give it some food. And then I added it to my mix. I still have a tablespoon of salt sitting there on the counter. That's some pink salt that I have.
Pink Himalayan salt.
Pink Himalayan salt.
The Himalayans, that's important to them.
I happen to have a really big bag of pink Himalayan salt, and it works great. So that's sitting there waiting for me to put in more flour. I'm going to let it mix for a minute. And then I'm going to add, in that measuring cup that you see me pouring, that had 8 cups of flour. So I'm adding most of that, and I'm going to sprinkle this salt right on top.
Kind of spread it out there. It looks really nice.
Yep.
That
it's
pink's
all
probably
going to
got to
get
give
kneaded
it a little...
really well. We're going to activate that gluten and get it going.
Love that dough.
Kept going.
Yep. It's still going.
But it's not recording. Is it recording?
Probably.
Okay, it's still recording. Okay.
It says recording, so that's like one of the clues, I think.
Well, it says stop, though. I thought I pressed stop.
Well, it does say stop, but I think if you press stop, it'll stop. Otherwise, it's still recording.
Okay. So, we're still recording, and that we're adding more flour, too. So, my mom uses bleached flour. I think that's just what she has in her pantry. I had unbleached flour, which made it a little bit less dry, so I added more flour.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the bleaching makes it...
The bleaching makes it more dry, so my mom said that she adds between 9 and 10 cups of flour. And you'll see I added all 10 cups of flour, and look, it's still super sticky. So this is a really cool part. But this is my favorite part, this dough is really sticky. So I probably, in the next batch that I made right after this, because I made 2 batches, I definitely added more flour. I was really afraid that I would make them dry, and I really didn't want dry cinnamon rolls. And so...
Nobody does. Gross.
Yeah. And it looked like my mixer was kneading it really fast. I had just sped up the video, so it wasn't going that fast. When you have that dough hook on, you don't want to put it any higher than 4, I'm going to say. I'm a little impatient.
The only one that's kneading these cinnamon rolls is me, huh? Right now.
Rolls. So you can see that I did add a little bit more flour to it, and then I'm just kneading it a little bit. Nice. I'm going to grab my rolling pin, and I'm going to roll it out into a big, giant rectangle. And I don't have measurements for this. The wider the rectangle is when you're working with it, the more cinnamon rolls you're going to have. The thicker that it is, the more big your cinnamon rolls are going to be, if that makes sense. You'll see it when I roll it out, or when I roll them up. Once I put the butter and the cinnamon and sugar on, it'll start to make more sense. So I'm trying to get those corners. I sometimes will put the rolling pin down and grab the corners to really pull them so that it makes a nice rectangle. Otherwise, you end up with a few cinnamon rolls at each end. You do anyway, but you don't want the cinnamon rolls on the ends to be so much smaller than the cinnamon rolls in the middle. So this is a stick of butter that I melted in the microwave.
Ooh.
I do it a little bit different, I think, than some people. Some people melt the butter and they put cinnamon sugar in with the butter and they make a paste. But I think this is easier. And
yeah, that's the wrong way to do it. This is the right way.
And then I did brown sugar and cinnamon and white sugar. But I did mostly brown sugar. It was a cup of brown sugar and a half a cup of white sugar. Mm-hmm. And I think I did a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. I like them to be really cinnamony. Do you like them to be that way?
Yeah, I would. More sugar is always good.
Yeah. And I think I even added a little bit more. I looked at it and thought, that needs more.
Yeah.
So this is, and then you just start to roll it up, and you can see how sticky my dough still is. But that's okay, because it made
you work as fast as she does. Wait, no, this is sped up. Sorry,
this is sped up still, but I am working pretty fast. I'm just trying to pick it up and not stretch it so much as like pick it up and set it down as I'm rolling. And it's super sticky. So this is a bench scraper. If you don't have one of these, they're super handy to have. I use it to ice cakes.
Scrape all our benches.
Scrape all our benches. Yeah, it's fabulous if you're making sugar cookies too, and you've got all that extra dough that's left sitting on your counter. You can just use a bench scraper and scrape it all up. That's a good scraping sound.
That's the sounds that we would make if this was not, if we had that part.
Okay, so now I've got my log, and this is a pan with parchment paper, and I'm using just standard thread. I know some people use, what is it, dental floss?
Ooh.
But I didn't have any that wasn't minty.
Yeah.
So my mom always used thread. My mom's a seamstress, and so that's what I use.
Does the color of the thread matter?
No, I think this is black thread.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't have expected that. It looked like red thread from...
Yeah, it's black. Maybe dark blue. I'm not sure. But,
dark blue is nice.
But it's close. Okay, so I'm just putting them on the pan. That is a half sheet pan, so to give you some reference. And I'm trying to spread them out. So this is how they look. I'll put the recipe for the icing. That's a brown butter cream cheese icing. It's a little thicker than a standard icing, and it's delicious.
Goes with the brown sugar theme, too. You gotta have like a brown.
Yeah, it tastes like really caramely and tastes like fall. I love it.
Fall does taste brown.
Enjoy making cinnamon rolls. I'll put the recipe in the comments. Thanks for baking with the Braziers.